a constitution, and particularly the Weimar Constitution. And the first question that I want to ask is, what is a constitution? So if we just write the word out there first, you may have heard of that word before, because every country, or at least the vast majority of countries, has a constitution. Most famous one I can think of would be the Bill of Rights in the United States. You know, it's a set of things that everyone in that country has to do to get along. And in 1919, this new government, the Weimar Republic, had been set up in Germany at the end of World War One. If you remember, the Kaiser, the undisputed emperor, I suppose, of Germany, had run away at the end of the war in 1918. He'd been replaced by the Weimar Republic. The Weimar government was a coalition of different parties and different politicians who came together to form a government at that time. They then had to come up with a new set of rules, because this was a democracy now. This was a new government. They needed a new way of doing things. And so what they did is they drew up the Weimar Constitution, and that really explains what a constitution is. It's a set of rules to govern a country, and that's all a constitution is. Now, unfortunately, with every set of rules that you write, whether it's in a school, whether it's, you know, at home, whatever it is, there's going to be rules that work, and there's going to be other rules that perhaps don't work. So, you know, there's going to be strengths to the Constitution, but there's also going to be weaknesses to the Constitution as well. One of the major strengths of the Weimar Constitution was the fact it was very democratic. For example, women could vote over the age of 21 in the Weimar Republic from 1919 onwards. In Britain, it wasn't actually until 1930 that was the case. So already you can see that this. I mean, I don't think any country in Europe had that level of rights for women at that time. So it was very democratic. It was very fair. And of course, one of the kind of things that came out of that fairness was the actual voting system that they used, which was called proportional representation. If you want to have a look maybe online at that yourself, it's a system that essentially means all the votes cast in the election equal the amount of seats. So to put very, very simple, votes equal seats. Here's a picture of, Parliament. Let's say there is 100 seats here. So 25, let's say there's 100 people voting. 25 votes would mean that 25 of those seats would go to the Conservatives, say. But equally, let's say that another 25 vote for the Green Party, and the Green Party get another 25%, and another 25% vote for the Labour Party. So 25, 25, 25, the Labour Party, and then let's say, the last group over here is UKIP, and they get 25 over here. Now here's a problem, because what you then have is no majority. So even though it is as fair as you can probably make it in terms of a voting system, it's incredibly fair. But coming out of that fairness is a problem, because you have no majority, and without a majority, you are going to struggle to pass laws. If you want to pass laws, you're going to have to work together. So, for example, let's say I'm a member of the Green Party. I want to pass a law to cut carbon monoxide gases or whatever. I'm going to have to get support from, some or all of those parties to be able to pass that law. That takes time to get that support, because I'm going to need to discuss it with them. I'm going to need to make sure they're all happy with it. it's going to take a lot of time to get what I want, and to pass a law. Now, in 1919, Germany is in a mess. 1920, 1921, the German economy is struggling in the early 1920s. They need fast decision making. They don't want to see politicians talking and talking and talking. They don't want to see a talking shop version of politics. But that's exactly what they were seeing, because there was no majority. There was also no strong leader in this time. So that, I think of some of the British prime ministers of previous, the last 15, 20 years, strong characters, whatever you think of these people, Thatcher, Blair, these people were strong characters. There was no such politician who existed there who could really take control of this situation and really pull people together and move in their direction. So what that meant was disarray, really, and really slow, decision making. Now, I'm going to, as well as that, yes, PR, proportional representation, the voting system, is a strength and a weakness, because what people wanted was fairness, but, with that fairness comes the downside, which is slow decision making. Also, as a weakness, there was an article called Article 48. Article 48 gave emergency powers to the leader of the Republic at a time and place where they would see fit. So, for example, at a time of national emergency, the leading politician could use Article 48, ask the president to use Article 48, and he could essentially rip apart the Constitution. He can pass whatever laws he wants using Article 48. Of course, to get Article 48 passed, he needs to consult the Reichstag, which is like the German version of the Houses of Parliament. So it wasn't just, he couldn't just pull out Article 48 and say, right, I'm in control now. All democracy is finished. It was a case of, if the Reichstag voted for it, then yeah, that could be the case. So as an overview, you can see that, just as an introduction, you can see that within the Weimar Constitution, it was a good idea. There were lots of positive things about it, and if you click on the link that's on the screen and has been on the screen, you will see, perhaps you can explore more of those strengths and weaknesses that I've discussed here.